This might just be my most controversial take that I make. Something even more controversial than when I said that Zach Wilson wasn't the primary issue in New York, even though he's won infinitely more games than Mike White and Joe Flacco this season. And that is the fact that Justin Fields is kinda mid, and that the Bears should move on from him in this draft. The Bears are in a situation where they have the number 1 overall pick, a guy who some people may take a flyer out on based on his athleticism, not necessarily his passing, which is the main issue that I will tackle here today. The Bears are in prime position to trade Justin Fields, take a guy like Bryce Young or CJ Stroud, or hell, maybe you go with a guy who could potentially be a finished prospect and a guy who I think would be really funny for them to take first overall, and a guy like Stetson Bennett. I don't think it'll happen, but I think it would be absolutely hilarious if the Bears ended up going with Bennett. But that's a different story. That's a different thing for another day. We are here to focus on Justin Fields, okay? Justin Fields is a almost exact passing replica of Josh Rosen. Year 1 Josh Rosen went 3-10. Justin Fields went 3-12. Year 1 Rosen had 2,278 passing yards. Justin Fields' past season, 2,219 passing yards. 15 interceptions from Fields, 14 interceptions from Rosen. Both were sacked over 10% of the time. Josh Rosen was sacked 45 times. Justin Fields was sacked 55 times. Both were pressured on almost 27% of their throws. Both only have about a 5% or 5.5% drop percentage. Justin Fields is about 5.2. Josh Rosen was a 5.7 drop percentage. And both have just terrible passes. The bad passing percentage for Josh Rosen was 20.5% in his first year, which is not as bad as some other quarterbacks. Namely guys like Joe Flacco and Zach Wilson this season have had fairly bad passes. Now, these bad passes are just throws that just don't hit the fucking target. That's basically what they are. They're not spikes or anything. They're just passes that straight up, for some reason, miss the quarterback or miss the wide receiver. And for Justin Fields, 19% of those throws fall into that category. All of this is to say that Justin Fields is not a good passer. Independent of his team, he is just not a good passer. And it's just kind of the reality that we've got to accept at this point. He's just not a bad passer, or he's just not a good passer. It just happens. Sometimes we come to find that there are quarterbacks with a lot of mobility who are bad at passing the football, and we got to move on from them. That's all. And I've heard a lot of people come to me when I've made this take on TikTok, and they came to me and they were like, "How does Justin Fields? How is he different than a guy like Lamar Jackson?" Okay, both Lamar Jackson and Justin Fields don't have the greatest passing stats. Both are really good runners. How are they different? The main difference is Lamar Jackson's help makes Jackson look worse than he is. Justin Fields makes his help look worse than they are. Justin Fields does not elevate jack fucking shit. It just doesn't happen. Chase Claypool, past 2 seasons, very consistent, about 860 yards per season. In Chicago, he is barely broken 100 yards. That's pretty concerning. Darnell Mooney, last year, 1,000-yard receiver. He had 600 under Mitchell Trubisky, 1,000 yards last season. This season, less than 500 yards. You cannot argue with this. And it's not like they're dropping more passes. Lamar Jackson, his passes get dropped 3% more than Justin Fields. It's just a fact. Now, he gets pressured on less of his throws. He's only pressured, I believe it is 19% of the time, as opposed to Justin Fields, 26.9% of the time. But he throws less picks. He throws less picks, or when he throws those picks, he throws them less often than Justin Fields. Justin Fields is second in the league in interception percentage. Only person higher than Justin Fields in interception percentage this season is Dak Prescott, who everybody has been dogging on for his interception percentage. Now Dak Prescott is a great passer. He puts a lot of stats up. He puts up a lot of yards. He matches some of his touchdowns with some of his interceptions, and some of his interceptions just straight up aren't his fault. But Justin Fields does not have that excuse. Justin Fields just throws balls into the defender's hands. He did it against Houston. When you look back at the Bears versus Texans game, the Bears should have lost that game. The Texans just are that fucking terrible. But Justin Fields had 2 interceptions that game that went straight into the defender's hands. They didn't even touch the wide receiver. They just went straight into the defender's hands. He's thrown against the Packers. He's thrown multiple interceptions where he just throws it straight to the cornerback. Completely misses the read. Take the play against the Lions. Okay. Infamous play against the Lions. The Lions rushed 0. 0 rushers. Now you can say, oh, well, the wide receivers, they weren't very motivated on their route, yada, yada, yada. That don't matter. At worst, Justin Fields sees, okay, nobody's open, fuck it, I'm not going to try to do nothing and throw potentially a pick 6. I'll just take a knee here. Not what he does. He doesn't take a knee, doesn't try to, scramble and make some magic shit happens. He just throws a pick straight to Aiden Hutchinson. Just throws it straight to him. He's just not good. Not fucking good. And potentially, in my opinion, he could be the 4th best passer in his draft. I've kind of established a 1 and 2 for my 2020 QBs so far. My 1 is Trevor Lawrence. My 2 is Mac Jones. I believe that Trevor Lawrence is a really, really good passer. He's really proven that under Doug Peterson. And I believe that Mac Jones is a fairly similar quarterback to a guy like Tom Brady. Not in the sense that he's as good as Tom Brady, but he plays a similar game, has a similar arm strength level to that type of guy. He falls into that archetype that other guys like Brock Purdy and Jimmy Garoppolo kind of fall into. This season, he's kind of been more held back by his offensive coordinator than by his actual abilities, because like we saw last year when we had a decent offensive coordinator in Josh McDaniels, who's not that great of a head coach, but he's a fairly decent offensive coordinator. He went 11-5 and played really, really good. So that's my 1 and 2. My 3 right now, I'm putting Zach Wilson at number 3. I haven't seen enough from Trey Lance to even put him on the list. I'm putting Zach Wilson at number 3 over Justin Fields. Because Zach Wilson, with all of his faults, with everything that goes wrong, and you look at him compared to the other quarterbacks on the roster, he has won more games. He's won 3 more games than Joe Flacco and Mike White combined. When we look at the Dolphins game that the Jets played, the Jets put up a collective 6 points in this past game. Say what you want about Zach Wilson. Give whatever credit you want to give to the defense or the running backs or whoever the fuck you want to give the credit to. Zach Wilson when he was the quarterback versus the Dolphins the last time they had this situation, Zach Wilson put up 40. That's the fact. Zach Wilson put up 40 points against the Miami Dolphins the last time they played. Unfortunately, he didn't play in the second time against the Dolphins to see if he could have repeated that. Joe Flacco played, and he put up 6. Mike White played really bad against the Seahawks, and some people are already blaming it on the fact that he had injured ribs. That does not excuse his poor play. He shouldn't have been playing anyways then. He shouldn't have been playing against, or he shouldn't have finished out the game against the Bills if he was that injured. He shouldn't have played against the Seahawks if he was still injured. Where is the excuse there? But this isn't a video on Zach Wilson. This is a video on Justin Fields and the fact that when you look at the situation that Justin Fields has put the Bears in, it is the exact same situation that Josh Rosen put the Cardinals in. Now the Cardinals decided to take a quarterback. They took Kyler Murray, who maybe is really good, maybe isn't really good. Who really knows at this point? He is going to be coming off an ACL repair. We'll see how he plays next season. But in the short term, he was way better than Josh Rosen. That's just kind of the facts there. We are looking at a situation where Mitch Trubisky has looked better with the Bears than Justin Fields has. Maybe that says something about Mitchell Trubisky. Maybe that says something about Justin Fields. Maybe that just says something about how we value certain traits in the NFL. But the matter of the fact here is Justin Fields is not a good quarterback. He's my number 33. 33 out of 32. There are 33 other guys that have played this season that I would rather take over Justin Fields going into next season. That I would rather build around as opposed to Justin Fields. And until somebody from the Justin Fields camp can definitively prove to me that he is a good passer, because like I've said, I started the thing, he's a good athlete, he runs the ball really well, but if you want to be successful in the NFL, you got to be able to throw the ball. Jalen Hurts, he can run the ball for sure, but he also throws the ball really well. Patrick Mahomes, he can run the ball for sure. He's got a lot of mobility in that pocket, but he's got a fucking cannon. Josh Allen, mobility, he can run, he can truck the shit out of people. He's also got a fairly decent arm. Whenever we look at these top quarterbacks that are mobile, mobility is potentially helping them, but they're still throwing the ball really well. And that's why they're put in those top 10 quarterback debates. Justin Fields just hasn't done that. You can check the TikTok that's on the channel. The YouTube Shorts that's on the channel. Or you can check the TikTok for the full version of it. There's just straight up a minute of clips, because that is how long YouTube will allow me to post for shorts. There's just a straight up minute of Justin Fields throwing terrible picks, missing wide open receivers. He just does it. And we ignore it because he runs a 40-yard throw. Or he runs it for 40 yards every so often. And call me crazy, but if I want a quarterback, I want him to be able to actually throw the football in the NFL as opposed to throw the football in college, because that's another thing. I'm throwing that in there at the end of the video of people saying, oh, well, he threw well in college. Throwing well in college don't win you games in the NFL. I'm sorry. It just doesn't. Justin Fields is a knee injury away from being RG3. Those are the hot takes at the end of today's video. You can sit on that for however long you need to, but it's the facts. He's a knee injury away from being RG3. He can't throw the fucking football. He is vastly overrated compared to his actual accomplishments, even in comparison to his own draft class. You just can't build around a guy that can't throw the football. It just doesn't work. It just doesn't work.